Hello YouTube, welcome back to Super Lorcana World, your one-stop shop for everything Lorcana. Today, it is finally about time to show you guys Ruby Amethyst Control, the deck profile that some people consider to be the best deck in the format. I don't know if it's the best deck, but it's definitely tier 1, definitely top 3. And it's a deck that if it makes it to turn 7, turn 8, yeah, forget it, you just probably lose. And that's how this deck works. You make it to that point in the game, then you have all these big, powerful cards that just control your opponent and decimate their resources, and that's it. That's the game. And the mirror matches are super intricate as well, which is always a very nice thing to have in card games. So I'm going to show you my deck profile. I'm going to show you all the cards that I play to help with the aggro matchups to get to turn 7, and show you guys what the goal of the deck is. If you guys enjoy it, please like, comment, subscribe. We are getting close to 2,000 subscribers, and that would be very, very cool. So we're going to go ahead here and get started with the 1-drops. We're just going to go, no particular order, just from lowest to highest. I'm playing 2 Archimedes. It is just a 1-drop 2/2. It's there to help with the aggro matchups. And for the next card, I was playing Olas as a 1/3. But I decided instead to change it up to 4 Befuddle, and I haven't looked back. So Befuddle is a card that costs 1 that says you return a character item 2 cost or less to the owner's hand. That's it. What's really good with this card is, let's say your opponent goes turn 1 Lilo. Alright, you go turn 1 Archimedes. They go turn 2 Simba Bodyguard. Turn 2 you can Befuddle their Simba, and then you attack their Lilo, because they're definitely questing if they have Simba in hand. And it's such a huge power play at that point in time. Very good card, honestly, altogether. Befuddle is really good against Simbas and good against other random cards as well. Being a 1-drop is fine. And the nice thing about these 1-drops is that these help you for early aggro, but once you get them later in the game, they're just ink. That's really, really cool. Last 1-drop we play is 1 copy of Shield of Virtue. I really enjoy the 1 copy of it. It's a 1-cost item that lets you exert and pay 3 to ready a character and a can't quest. That's okay though, because there are certain cards that don't mind being unsuspended to do things. It's a really, really powerful item in my opinion. So with that ends our 1-drops. We go on to 2-drops next. Play 4 copies of Gaston. We play Gaston because it's a 4/2 2-drop. Being 4/2 lets him trade with Cusco. Cusco is a 2/4, and it takes out whatever battles with it. So Gaston's actually like the perfect counter for it. So it makes your Emerald aggro matchups a lot easier thanks to having Gaston here. Then I play 4 copies of Magic Mirror. I know a lot of decks play 3. 3 seems like the average number, I'd say. I like 4 because of the mirror match. You really want to see this card in the mirror match. We're already playing more than 60 cards. It's already hard enough to get certain cards to your hand. But you definitely want to make sure you have this turn 2 against the mirror match. It is super important to have a Magic Mirror turn 2 against the mirror match. And like, you have 1 is fine, 2 is great as well, but usually 1 is fine. The sooner you have it, the better too, because it make like turn 4 for you. You're not doing a whole lot usually. Why not Magic Mirror? That's pretty strong. So there you go. We play 3 copies of Magic Broom. We are playing brooms to help control resources, return important cards to our deck, return important cards to your opponent's deck from trash if you need to. The 2-drop 2/2. The broom package also ensures you don't deck out, which matters in the mirror match and against the whole new world decks. And it's also a good recurable resource so that you can just keep bringing back Elsa's and just keep doing nasty, nasty things like that, which is pretty powerful. You'd love to see it. So 3 copies of Broom is really good. The last card we play as a 2-drop is 1 copy of the Cauldron. Cauldron, you tap it, reveal top, or look at the top of your deck, put 1 on top, put 1 on the bottom. This card lets you control your draws. So being a 2-cost item, it's not inkable. Magic Mirror is just strictly better. But being able to control your draw at any point in the game is really powerful. So 1 copy of it I think is fine, not a big deal. Now we move on to the 3-drops, in which we're playing 4 copies of Pot of Greed. This card lets you draw 2 cards from your deck. If it's 3, it's front to the other side, but you can sing it for a 3-cost or higher character to play for free. And it's literally just Pot of Greed. The best partner for that card are 4 copies of this Maleficent. When you play it, you draw a card. It quests for 1 and only has 2/2 for stats, so it's nothing remarkable. Turn 3, the best case scenario is you play this, you draw a card, then turn 4 you sing with it, Pot of Greed, draw 2 cards. It's truly a powerful interaction. I feel so much better in the games that I get it off. It's really, really powerful. Next, 3 copies of Rafiki. It's a 3/3 that costs 3 that has Rush. It's good at taking out Simbas and other early aggro threats like Cheshire Cat, whatever else you need to get rid of. The card is really powerful and it helps you make it to turn 7 in your aggro matchups. We played 2 copies of White Rabbit's Pocket Watch. It's a 3-cost item that has an ability that for 1 and an exert, you can pick a character against Rush. This card's really good against Emerald, against things like Cusco. You might not have a Gaston on board, so they might just play Cusco and Quest, whatever. So all of a sudden now you can play a Gaston and give it Rush, and then it trades. It's such good value. And it has synergy with other cards as well, like a big Aladdin and whatever. It card's really good. Last 3 drop are 2 copies of Little Aladdin. When you play it, each opponent loses a lore. Not a bad effect. Stats are pretty mediocre, but that's okay because it's there to shift into Big Aladdin. You see, if you get this card on the board turn 3 or turn 4, the opponent has to respect the potential turn 5 shift Aladdin, because if they don't respect it and they play into it, they might just lose the game, right? Aladdin's that powerful. So this card's there for the mind games. You can also just play it, and you might not have Big Aladdin. They might have to respect it anyway. It might make your opponent choose to play a little more awkward, or a little more conservatively. And you love it, because them playing conservatively means you make it a turn 7, and then it's all over. So that's it. On to 4 drops. We only literally play 2. It's just a 2 Mickey Mouse for the broom package. Makes your brooms cost 1 less to play, and when they die by a challenge, they return to your hand. So it makes your brooms really good at swinging into things, getting them back, then you play them, put the cards back in deck. It's really, really powerful. Also Quest for 2, it's a 3/4, so Mickey has very, very good stats. And now onto the 5 drops. We play 4 copies of Maui. Maui's a 5-drop 6/5 Inkable that has Rush and Reckless. It can attack the turn it plays, and it has to attack every turn of Able. This card's basically a removal card. It's good against things like Stitch and other cards that only have 5 or 6 toughness. Very, 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 very powerful card. It's basically a removal. You have to treat this card as a removal card. That's basically what it is. You're not doing anything else with it. Then we have 4 copies of Dragonfire. I want to be able to have an answer to Stitch, basically, on turn 5. I want to be able to kill a Stitch turn 5 if the opponent has a Stitch on turn 5. So having 4 copies of Maui helps. Having 4 copies of Dragonfire also helps, because they might not suspend their Stitch, right? So Dragonfire is really powerful in that sense, because I can just blow it up regardless. Dragonfire is also really good because, going into later in the game, the opponent might have some scary big characters on the board. Dragonfire blows them up. You get the more value with Dragonfire, the higher ink cost cards you blow up with it. And Dragonfire is just good for that, because Maui can't kill everything, but Dragonfire can. So 4 copies of Dragonfire I think is super important. Next, we're playing 3 copies of the Queen. The Queen just is a tap, draw a card. That's it. And 4/5, not bad stats either. It's there for additional draw power. You're never going to quest with it unless you're going to win that turn. It's just there to help you deck thin. And deck thinning is super important. So that's all for that. Then the last 5-drop we're playing are 2 copies of Goofy. Goofy's a 3/4 evasive that quests for 2. And it's there to help you take care of other evasive threats. And there to quest for 2. Something that can't be challenged back sometimes. Being evasive makes it really flexible in certain matchups. And sometimes I don't hate it. Sometimes I just end up inking it. Most of the time I ink it, actually. But there are a few times where it comes up and it helps you get rid of evasive cards, and it is really powerful. Goofy's a good card. Noteworthy inclusion deck for sure. Now, we don't play any 6 drops, we're moving straight to 7, and this is the card that makes everything okay in the world. 4 copies of Be Prepared. It is Dark Hole. You can also sing it for free on a 7 or higher, which we play plenty of in this deck. But, Dark Hole is good. Basically, aggro boards, they have, like Stitch decks, they have to go wide. Emerald aggro, they have to go wide, right? You need to make it to turn 7, and if you do, you blow up their board, and then you have a whole slew of big, powerful cards that can take care of the rest of the game for you. I like to mulligan if I don't have Be Prepared, try to draw Be Prepared. If I have a Be Prepared in my hand, I'm happy. All I know is I gotta make it to turn 7, and I'm good to go. So Be Prepared, very powerful card. It helps swing everything in your favor. And then everything else has other purposes. All our boss monsters here are very powerful. We have 4 copies of Aladdin. The one that when it defeats something by challenge, you steal 2 lore and add to your total. On top of that, it costs 7 to play, but 5 to shift on Aladdin. That's what I was talking about with the Aladdin earlier. You can play it as early as turn 5 and really punish your opponent if they're not playing around it. This card is just lifesteal. Lifesteal is really powerful. It's the only thing that really does it in this game. The last 7-drop we play is a tech choice that I really enjoy. It's Dr. Facilier. You'll never shift it. It'll always cost 7. And then quest 3, which is fine. Whenever one of your other characters dies via challenge, you return it to your hand. I don't even need to tell you how good this combos with certain cards that have really good on plays or really good attacking triggers like Aladdin or Gaston or whatever else has a really good ability. It's just a very powerful card. One copy of it because it's fine, whatever. I find it really good against the mirror match, honestly. You'll trade with their resources, but because you have Dr. Facilier in the hand, they go back to your hand. And then you later recycle it with Broom, and then if it dies, and you just keep going. So, I'm a big fan of the one copy of Dr. Facilier. It's done a lot of work for me in a lot of matchups. This is one of my favorite cards in the set, actually, just because of how recurable it is. Combos really well with things like Maui and Rafiki that have Rush that I can just swing. Also with the White Rabbit Pocket Watch, anything else Rush, just swings, go back to hand. Really powerful stuff. Moving right along, now to the 8-drops, we're playing 4 copies of Giant Elsa. We never shift with it, but it has Deep Freeze. When you play this character, exert the 2 chosen characters, they can't ready to start the turn. You don't have to exert 2 characters to freeze 2, you can pick 2 exerted characters and they just freeze them, it's fine. It has a 4/6 for 3 lore, which is a very powerful ability for sure. And the more you can put Elsa on the board later in the game, the harder chance the opponent has in winning the game. It's an incredible boss monster. We play 5 cards left in the deck. I'm just going to go and show them to you right now. We're playing 2 copies of Mickey Mouse and we're playing 3 copies of Maleficent. I know a lot of people play 4 Maleficent. I'm here to tell you that while it's all cool and stuff, 3's fine for me. I've tried 4. 4 seemed really unnecessary in my opinion. And I want to play too many cards. I switched it from 4 to 2 Mickey Mouse. The Mickey Mouses are really good because they have evasive. And it's a 4 quest. So it really puts your opponent on a clock. They have to deal with it. And usually they do. And then Maleficent deals with the crackback, or Elsa deals with the crackback, or whatever else. You might disagree, maybe if you're only playing 3 Maleficent. You're allowed to disagree. Not a big deal. And if you want to play 4, Godspeed, play 4. But I like my 3 Maleficent, it is all fine. And that is it for the deck profile. I think by explaining every card choice, I've explained to you how this deck works and how it functions. And if you want to see some gameplay of the deck, let me know in the comments. With that, I will see you guys later. Bye!